Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada.
Awesome. So, D,
Yep.
nice background over there, man.
Yeah. I just want to be in a familiar, comfortable, safe
Derek's
place.
background over here now. It's
Two guys in the back are a little close though to each other.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I bought this great pop-up green screen, Don. It just it's in like a thin container, and you just pull it up, and then it opens up, right? And it's like I'm pretty impressed. I'll send you the stuff on it, but it's awesome. You can carry it around. And
You definitely got to see it.
green screen on Broadway.
I love it. So, Zach, I know Derek and I are going to plan on doing a weekly workout together.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And it'll be fun. And that's just in my experience, it's never one post that kind of pays dividends. It's just the consistency of everyone just getting used to, it's the familiar face, it's the familiar treadmill. And then out of nowhere, people just become brainwashed on it. So, I already know, this will pay, strong dividends for you guys as we just do this more and more.
For sure. Yeah, no, I love it so far. And you posted something the other day and it was in the background. It looked good. So.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to lighten it up a little bit. I know it was a little bit dark, but all right, D. So Derek and I normally just kind of dub an intro in there.
Yeah.
And we normally kind of get right to it. So
cool.
Derek, you want to lead off? You want me to lead off? How do you want to do this?
Yeah. I think for me, the great thing is that it's because of guys like both of you that got me introduced to the TrueForm Runner originally, because obviously I'm at Don's facility. They're like, hey, try this treadmill. I'm like, whoa, this feels weird. And then before you know it, I'm trying to run and sprint on it. And from there, we've just kind of expanded. We had a great event at Drive with, I think, 12 or 14 TrueForms. And we've just been kind of building on that. And then our latest sort of event was a Zoom workout between Don and I, and we worked back and forth, which was really cool as well. So having it in our home makes it so much easier and accessible. I think it was even nice weather out, so I didn't mind running indoors talking to Don. So it was just a great. I was surprised. I was surprised at how kind of interactive and cool it was, Don.
Yeah, it's funny because it's beautiful out right now. And the thing I got to be careful with is pumping the brakes a bit, Derek, with all the other training that I do, because I have a tendency to just want to go, and the next thing you know, I'm like, all right, we got to start backing off a little bit because things are happening. But even with the beautiful weather in New York lately, and the weather's been great, I haven't had an urge to get outside. I just feel like I can control. It's just a much more controlled environment. I'm not saying to tell people not to go run outside. Come on, it's one of the most peaceful and mindless forms of activity out there. But I am saying that it was nice to be able to have a set of eyes like Derek on me. Zach, having someone like Derek watching you go through intervals, and I have my set of AirPods in, and he's like, as I'm running, he's like, get your knees higher, get your knees higher, get your knees higher. He's like, stop thinking, don't think about it'll just come down automatically, and just telling me where to strike. And, having that coach running with you, it really kind of I think a light switch went off in my head, because you start hearing about all these things that Peloton's doing with group workouts, and the price of the treadmills and the price of the bikes. And listen, it's not inexpensive, but I think when you really break it down, I know you guys have a specific payment plan. When you really break it down, for someone to be able to have the ability to get on a runner indoors, and in my opinion, get even better work done than you would be getting outside. I feel like it's even a little bit more difficult. But if you were able to add that coaching element to it, where, man, imagine hosting a Zoom class with 100 people with who are on TrueForm trainers or runners. And then out of nowhere, Derek's kind of sitting there talking to you, or one of your coaches is sitting there talking to you about, not necessarily watching every person, because that's not scalable. It's saying, all right, guys, this is what we want to do. 6 seconds. We're going to put our hands on the rails, and we're going to take about 4 to 5 seconds to ramp up. And then when I say go, you guys got to be at top speed, and get your knees up, vertical. And you're talking people through this. Holy shit. I feel like that's, I don't think there's a product out there that does that.
No, not at all. And you guys both hit on it, is what's the two limiting factors of sprint training or run training for anyone, whether you're doing general population, high school athletes, professional athletes? It's space and opportunity. Maybe Don, you're in Soho and pretty decent gym for where you're located, but you don't have space you can't go outside on Broadway and do some sprints, do some 400-meter repeats. Like you can't do that. And even that little straightaway right behind Derek's little back screen, that's enough. But what if you got people walking by? So now you've made the footprint of the space you need for sprinting or for running a lot smaller. And you can also put the training in a window. If you're a coach in the physical space, you can stand right next to someone while you're doing, 400s or intervals with, 1, 2, 5-minute runs, instead of being outside on a track and having to follow your athlete filming them. You can film them right there on your phone, or even like you mentioned with Zoom and Skype and all these services, Facetime. I mean, you could sit here in your pajamas if you're a coach and watch your athlete sprint. If you're a, strength conditioning coach for one of these professional sports teams out there, get your athletes one of these TrueForms, the runner or the trainer model, and you can host, virtually your whole workout, literally virtually your whole workout, what you do in your training facility.
It's funny, Derek, because I think there's different elements of, obviously it's like with any type of training, there's different elements of coaching out there. There's the element of going in and just kind of rah and camaraderie and developing a community. And I understand the importance of accountability. It really is. I've had some of my big name clients who like to run over to Mile High Run Club, and we would go in there for 40 minutes. We'd do 40 minutes of intervals, and it was, I got to be honest, it was fun. Like, was there from a coaching element, was there anything that I really gained out of that? Did I become a better runner? I don't know. Maybe there was a couple of tips that she gave me that was valuable, but I do know, by having that person in your ear, talking you through step-by-steps and repeats. And actually, I think scheduling, a workout based off of, a workout based on, just a form of training that's just smarter, and kind of getting away from the fluff of, trying to beat the crap out of people. And dude, I was sweating. Like what we did the other day after 22 minutes, like I was, 6 seconds. Most people think that's 6 seconds all out. And then, walking for 2 minutes, it's like, wow, that's a lot of, like, your work to rest ratio is really off. Like, no, if you're working hard, you need that rest. Yeah. I just feel like that in a lot of this group setting, people become very fluffy and they try and offer something that's to the masses, and they almost start neglecting the art of coaching and implementing, like someone like Derek. Like, I'm not a run coach, Zach. Like I'm a strength coach. I'm a trainer. Like, I help people move better, look better, through many different tools. When I want to go to someone, when I want to learn from the best in running, I go to Derek. So it's different when you have someone like Derek in your ear. And my question to you guys is, how are you guys taking that next step on becoming a little bit more interactive? Because, sending out Survey Monkeys to my members, people aren't coming back immediately. And when they come back, they will be at home. Hands down. Even me, like I've earned a new respect for training at home. I also have great equipment now, but I'm realizing now that, wow, you know what? I can start my warm-ups, go grab a water, start my warm-ups, walk to the bathroom, get through my warm-up, turn my sauna on. It's like there's this whole process now. It allows me, and I'm fortunate for that, not to sound spoiled, but it's nice. I could tell you I'm going to train in a gym much less, and I own one. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as what we're doing here at TrueForm, I mean, for the last, we've been around for 5 years with the TrueForm Runner model, and a year and a half now for the TrueForm Trainer model. We're trying to get away from people just associating TrueForm with a product, just a treadmill company. We're moving. We've done this the last 5 years, but now we're trying to really push it. Is we're an education company. We're pushing those resources on how to become a better individual, a healthier individual, better athlete, better performing, healthy feet, healthy running form, running mechanics. Even if you're not a sprinter or runner, or you never book a race in your life, there's nothing like upright, forward movement, walking motion. It's something you have to do every single day, for most individuals. And so that's why we have livetrueform.com. It's linked right through our website, through TrueFormRunner.com. We've partnered with the best in the industry in terms of major brands like Spartan Race. They also have another version of that called DecaFit, High Rocks, which is got the High Rocks TrueForm Trainer behind me, USA Triathlon. I do a lot of the marathon training, and Derek has recently been making some sprinting videos, and you as well, Don. The videos you're making is we want to put the best educational content out there. Because we get questions all the time when people are looking to purchase the TrueForm. It's like, why TrueForm? And I can go through my spiel, and I stand behind it 100% that TrueForm is the only one, curved non-motorized treadmill out there that's going to improve your form. It's because of our engineering, our shallow curve, and it's also built to last. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't care. It's a weird thing. Most people just don't care about the brand or any brand out there. They just want a product, and they don't want to know why. And if we can put the education piece behind it and really push that, you're going to become a healthier individual, and it's going to carry over into other areas of your training. Even if you're not, like I said, if you're not a runner, not going to do a marathon, not going to do a 5K, never going to sprint in your life, it's going to carry over that just the adaptation and what fires in your CNS will carry over if you're a Olympic weightlifter. And so, yeah.
How much more difficult, Derek? You were telling me that running on the TrueForm, it was something like 30% harder, and it feels harder. I mean, it clearly, like, you get on there. I was warming up, and I was like, oh my god, like, you start feeling a little out of shape when you haven't been on one for a while. But
yeah, it's about 20% harder.
20%
roughly. Yeah, the trainer might be a little bit less than that, just because it's a little bit lighter material compared to the runner, which you have at Drive. And part of that is the weight of the materials, weight of the belt. The belt and the runner itself is made up the street from where I am at the Smith & Wesson plant. It's the same rubber they put on the hand stock, gun stock of guns. And so it's just, it's one of those things that's the most overbuilt thing in the world. You probably don't need it on the TrueForm, but, in an effort to make this thing bulletproof, pun intended, we did it. And, but it's in your best interest to run with proper form, because you have to run with proper form, right? Whether you have the trainer or the runner model. You can't heel strike. You can slightly overstride, but you'll feel it right away. You'll see your mechanics kind of slipping off and your form dropping off, and you won't be able to have that endurance piece, to it if you're doing sprinting or running long distances.
Derek, can you talk about that a little bit? Can you get into the mechanics of it and what you actually felt when you started, and listen, I never want this to sound like, this is a market. I know we're on with someone from TrueForm. I'm here to talk about, how do you refer to this, as a powerless treadmill? I mean, as a
non-motorized treadmill.
Yeah. But we're actually using yours because we love it. So, I mean, that's fantastic news. But Derek, can you talk about what you felt? Because you almost seemed a little surprised when you started jumping on it. When I was talking to you, you were like, man, like, this thing, like, I'm enjoying running on this thing. This thing's really good. This thing's it's difficult. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, like the research will call it officially a curved non-motorized treadmill. So CNMT, right? So if you see that, it's like, okay. And they just speak about it generically. But certainly, like, I never was a treadmill person. Like, I hated motorized treadmills. I get on them and I'm like, this feels awkward. And it feels like it's just kind of pulling my leg back. And so I really stayed away from them until I was at Drive, and you guys put me on the TrueForm, and I'm like, okay. And I had seen other people using, like, the other brands, right? And I'm like, okay, that looks a little gimmicky. I wasn't, didn't have any personal experience. So once I got the personal experience and started running and sprinting and doing different things with you guys, it really started to dawn on me, like, hey, this is, pardon the pun, that this can be useful. And then when we put somebody on there and fix their technique, and then we put them on dry land, it actually carried over, which was sort of a deal breaker for me now. It's like, okay, if I tell them, like, Don, get your knees up, step, create vertical force, land in this spot, they will do that when you go to the track, which is kind of cool. And like Zach said, I can film from the side, I can talk to them. So, like, I don't have to run down the track. Like, if I'm at the track and somebody's going, I get 1, 2, 3 steps and then they're gone, that I can really analyze, especially if I'm filming. But here I can analyze everything. They don't go anywhere. They're right there. And then even the athletes that I've worked with who are experienced runners, they're saying, like, hey, when I'm on this treadmill, I can really focus on technique because I'm not worried about running into somebody or, things going by me on the track. So I think that was a really important point for me, is that I could analyze people and work with them on the spot. And now we're finding we can do that remotely. Like, we're like almost 3,000 miles away, Don, 3,500 miles or whatever it is. It's like I'm in Vancouver, you're in New York, and I can do the same thing with you now So that's really attractive to me in terms of, hey, I mean, I know you guys were talking about like, we don't want to be a product company, but certainly the product really is the starting point that makes it very easy, right? So and then there's a technology around the, the support and the education, which I think is obviously just as important. Once you nail those two things, then you really got something. But I even like it because I can jump on it and I can go for a walk. I can listen to podcasts. I can do some calls. If a package is coming, like I'm right there. I don't leave the house. If I got to watch my kids,
It's convenient.
So it's bizarre how once you get a hold of this and you start using it, you're like, wow, there's so many possibilities.
I'm also notorious for like, I've got a book day. I mean, even right now at home, I'm probably busier at home right now than I was when I was working at Drive. But if I have a podcast or if I have something I'm on, or if I have a phone call and I knew that was going to last 30 minutes and out of nowhere, I get a cancellation, I might squeak it in from 2 to 2:30 rather than doing it at the end of the day. And just having it there, and literally like right now, I could be on that thing warming up within the next 10 seconds. It's so mindless and it's so easy. And I think the word that Derek used was carryover, because I remember when, I moved into the city back in '99, and, not a knock to Life Fitness, because I love a lot of their hammer strength products, but you get on the treadmill and you'd set a speed and you'd run, and then you'd see runners all day long, like just stretching their hips, and why are my hips always sore? And why do I just like, I went and ran outside and I felt like I got crushed. And you realize that there's some carryover naturally. I mean, there's things that are going to, be able to carry over to that outdoor setting, but to be able to get on something and then jump on dry land and actually feel like you haven't lost a set, that you actually picked up a step from being able to do something indoors or bring it outdoors. I mean, that's, to me, that's magical. Zach, can you talk about some of the technology? Can you talk about how, the products evolved?
Yeah. So we have the TrueForm Runner, which, if you're familiar with TrueForm, that's probably the model most people are familiar with. We started around 2015, got really big with the CrossFit Games. We brought, you can argue this, but we brought running to CrossFit essentially, with all their competitions kind of really picking up with their regionals and CrossFit Games, where like we just talked about with sprinting and having space and opportunity, bringing space and opportunity and shortening that up with CrossFit. And we just kind of evolved from there. Endurance runners and athletes and coaches saw this as a tool to train their endurance athletes. So kind of make some modifications there. And then sprinters as well. The handrail's a little bit smaller, so we upgraded the handrail so a little bit wider, a little bit taller, so you can get your knee up and work on form there as well. And other than maybe a couple small minor tweaks here and there to make the belt run a little bit smoother, the technology is the same. We just came out with a Bluetooth display for the TrueForm Runner recently, so you can cast what you're doing on the TrueForm on various apps. Zwift is a very popular app with triathletes, and we're big in the triathlete community as well. So you can do a virtual run where you have your little, emoji avatar guy running around California while, you're here or I'm here in Connecticut. So that's a pretty cool feature as well as heart rate capability. And then about a year and a half ago, we came up with the trainer model, which is right behind me, what both you guys have in your homes. And that was just a consumer-friendly model. We took the same schematics of the TrueForm Runner. We have a partner here in Connecticut that we share manufacturing resources with, who has a factory in Korea, and said, hey, could we make this a little more consumer-friendly? So instead of having aluminum and steel and all U.S. parts on the runner, it's composite materials and aluminum bearings instead of steel bearings on the runner. And it honestly is probably just as good as a product. People ask me all the time, hey, which one should I get? Price is not an option. Which one should I get? I'm like, to be honest, I mean, the trainer, if you never get on the runner, you probably won't know the difference, but it's just the difference between a high-end luxury SUV or high-end luxury car, and then just the next tier down from that. But the same principles are on both. It's the shallow curve. We put form and health and injury-free running at the forefront of all of our products. That's our kind of value proposition. We're not in the market to get these viral Instagram videos of people sprinting at 30 miles per hour. Like that doesn't matter to us. That's not what we want. We want healthy, injury-free running. We want people to get better with every step, whether you're just walking or up to sprinting. It has the TrueForm has the most versatility of what you could train for. And I mentioned that with all the companies we partner with, USA Triathlon. You got those guys and girls, marathon runners, sprinters, even just in rehab facilities. I have a lot of friends who have PT clinics, rehab facilities, return to play, or just, patients relearning how to walk again. It's the most effective use of your time is to be on the TrueForm. And it's a little biased, but I got a little science to back it up.
Yeah, we have a TrueForm runner at a PT clinic, and the great thing is that a patient can jump on there and they choose their speed, right? They don't have to like go, oh, what speed can I do this walk at? They just kind of start walking, and it makes it really easy. And because it's not too steep, everybody feels pretty comfortable on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's benefits. There's some steeper companies out there and other companies that do different things. I mean, every product on the market has their reasoning for being there, and everything works. But it's really how it works and why it works and how long it works. And TrueForm checks all the boxes where it's going to work the most versatility for what you want to do. And like you said, Derek, you can adjust the speed. It's all human powered. We talked about how the TrueForm is about 20% harder. Well, the standard slot treadmills or standard motorized treadmills will do about 20% of the work for you. There is some violence components of walking the TrueForm or running the TrueForm, but you still got to be engaged every step of the way. And it's going to call out your deficiencies as well. So even if you don't have me or you don't have Derek, screaming in your headphones or headset, you got a coach at your feet telling you kind of how to adjust.
Derek, did you have, I remember you and I wanted to discuss, there was a question that we had about X Games.
Yeah, like the CrossFit, when they use it in competition, is there like a specific distance that they have to run on the TrueForm? How is it implemented? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think, I'm not a CrossFitter. I mean, I know of them and know what to do and followed it loosely. So some of the events, they've done mile runs on it. They've done 400 meters and then get off and do, whatever you have to do. But yeah.
Okay.
So, and then, it's pretty interesting watching those guys. If you go back and watch the footage from 2015 when we were in there, you can see people are just like completely in shock of like what this machine is doing for you. Cause even outdoor running, and you'll hear a lot of CrossFitters say like, I'm not a runner, and that's not a knock on them. They're just, their goal is to kind of be a little bit good at everything. And so if you're just running outside, running around the stadium or running on other, products out there, you can kind of get away with not running with proper form. But if you get on the TrueForm, like it's in your best interest, like there's no way to beat the machine. I heard once a CrossFit coach was talking about a fan bike, a popular fan bike that CrossFit uses. And he got a question. He was hosting a seminar and said, one of his athletes asked him, how do I beat this piece of machine, beat this equipment for the games? And, I kind of looked at him like, that's kind of an interesting take. And he's just like, they didn't ask me how to increase my aerobic capacity or cardiovascular or get stronger. It's like how to beat this machine. Like the TrueForm, there's no way to beat it. You can't hack the machine. And, CrossFit, you got to hack a couple things here and there because it's just a sport, but for the TrueForm, you can't hack it. You can't take any shortcuts. If your form gets, a little off, you're going to slow down naturally. And just like you would outside and outdoors.
Can you discuss some of the research? Because you started mentioning that you have a lot of, you've got a lot of research to back it. So how have you guys been? Because I mean, listen, I got my first runner, I want to say it was 4 years ago, roughly.
Yeah.
And you guys, by the way, I mean, you guys were great enough. Zach, you were the one who delivered that treadmill to Chicago, didn't you?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So Laura Summers, one of my projects over the last, 5 years, who went from 872 pounds to, I think she's down in like the 360s now. Mm-hmm. And part of her homework, obviously, is not to run. And she, unfortunately, she has like a mild fracture to her ankle. That did not come from the runner, by the way. I think it just came from her taking a wrong step on the way to the gym, and she's been working out. But part of my, call it, I don't like to use the word rehab because I'm not a physical therapist, but part of my, work with her was giving her an assigned amount of minutes that she had to learn to walk without her hands every day. And in the beginning, it literally was like sled work. She had to come on with her hands and hold and push. And, she'll remember 2 minutes on that thing was almost impossible. And it got to the point where I think she was up to about 20 minutes a day. And we were splitting it up into different, it's about 21 minutes a day. I think we were splitting up into like 7 in the morning, 7 midday, 7 in the afternoon. And then she started, pending on how she was feeling, we were kind of like scaling that up or scaling that down. But I mean, it's pretty remarkable how, just walking in itself, that became almost like a rehab for her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the science, this kind of falls in with Laura too. University of South Carolina, Aiken came up, I think they did this 2016 because the guy reached out in 2015 when it was popular in CrossFit, because he was a semi-CrossFitter. Said, "Hey, I love your treadmill, or I've seen it. Can I, do some research on it? Can I see what this is doing to these athletes, these individuals?" And he did a study. He tested out with other motorized treadmill brands. The link to the study is on our website, and you just Google TrueForm Runner, University of South Carolina, will pop up. And it showed that after 4 minutes, the TrueForm Runner improves all aspects of gait. So, we're in the foot lands, pronation, supination of the foot, as well as getting balance and posture, getting up tall, engaging the glutes, engaging a lot of posterior chain activation with either walking or running on the TrueForm Runner. And so that was just great to see. And we kind of already knew that, and just from, like you mentioned with the motorized treadmill, you can kind of hit your speed, and it's easier to stay at that speed or kind of dog it a little bit, especially if it's at a lower speed. And recently we wanted to see, hey, what's the difference between the TrueForm Runner and the other brands out there, other curved non-motorized treadmill? And, we can talk about experiences from coaches, but we want to kind of see some research behind it. So I think the guy actually reached out again and said, "Hey, I got a hold of a few other companies, curved non-motorized treadmills, and I'm just comparing it. Just want to let you guys know." We're like, "Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome. I can't wait for that." So I don't know if COVID kind of slowed it down. I'm sure it did, but we should see that one soon. But, as far as, Laura, you take Laura, who was, at one point, I think we gave her the treadmill. She was in the 340s, close to 400 pounds. And I remember a few weeks before that, I think she came to New York, and that was the first time she ever stepped on the TrueForm and even stepped up onto a treadmill.
That? We had to help her out on it. Now she's doing it. But think about that. Now she's doing it herself. But
exactly.
And Laura's goal is to get below 200 pounds, but I don't want people to think that like anyone, like you're either in shape or you're out of shape, or just getting on and walking in itself.
Exactly.
That's sometimes, and for most people, it's just all they really need.
Yeah. Walking and running has a skill component to it. The popular use for a treadmill. The number one activity outside or inside a gym is walking in the treadmill or walking outside. The number two activity is running inside the gym or running outside. And after that, it's, sitting on the exercise bike or going on the elliptical or going on the Stairmaster. And don't get me wrong, all those things have a place and time, but you just, like I said, you just cannot dog it on a TrueForm. Whether you're walking, you have to stay upright. You have to use your glutes. You have to engage your core. You have to put a little force in the ground. If you're walking or running, it's all the same mechanics you're supposed to be doing outside that we can get, a little lazy with, or if you're coming from a place where you have injury history, it's going to find those and help build that strength back up.
So how have things been during the pandemic, Zach, in terms of like interest and people wanting to get a hold of a treadmill at this time?
It's great. I can't complain. Definitely in the 1% of the 1% who can say that they still have a job and things are good and things are happy. And we kind of work full time still. It's TrueForm, although we're a worldwide company, there's only 4 people. So you got Jeff and Robin, the husband and wife, both partners, and myself, and then who does the training, and Connor, who handle sales, and we all kind of have switch hats, but that's it for the company. And we've got a lot of interest. The previous kind of life cycle of a TrueForm client, someone who buys the TrueForm Trainer Runner, is about 6 months to a year. They might have it in their shopping cart a few times to see using a discount code they found, or see what the sales tax is, or see what shipping is to the place. And then, they buy it 6 months later after we kind of go over more of the education and they kind of see practices of it, or they go out to a gym and test it out. Near them, we if someone comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to try a TrueForm Runner," we don't have any showrooms, but we'll send it to a gym or someone in our network that can show it, show them the TrueForm. But yeah, people have been buying it, which is great. I think people are prioritizing their health, and they're also seeing the value of like, hey, I can run outside, but maybe it's not my best interest to run outside now, especially in the first few weeks of the pandemic. We didn't know what was going on clearly, and when you're from a major city or a high urban population, it's a little harder to avoid people running. Should I wear a mask? Should I not wear a mask? I just don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff. So you know what? If I can get a TrueForm in my house, it's going to be a better investment than a motorized treadmill. That's probably just going to be a clothes hanger or end up on Craigslist a few years later. It's something that I could use for the rest of my life. And it's a family affair too. So I run the TrueForm Instagram account, and we send obviously treadmills out when they buy them. And I'm like, guys, tag me in your posts. The number one post I get tagged all the time is their kids or family members walking on it, not them. And it's cool to see.
Yeah. It's funny. Ironically, my son a few minutes ago, we're trying to assign some gym class every day, and it's nothing crazy. I just tell my kids, I'm like, listen, you got to move 20 minutes a day, man, because they're on their Zoom calls, and Part of the, the tough thing about it too is when they finish school, they haven't had any interaction with their friends. So we actually want them doing Zoom calls with their friends, and we're allowing them to use their phones a little bit more right now because, their happiness to us is very important. And just having that interaction with their friends is something that they need. But gym class, I'm like 20 minutes a day, and they know, and they actually, ironically, they kind of know what to do. But my son jumped down the other day, probably about 10, 15 minutes before we even went on this podcast, and just started doing some intervals on the TrueForm. And I
awesome.
walked in and I was laughing at him doing, he's running barefoot and he's like, why is this thing so hard? You're just having fun. But just the fact that even, he stayed on it for 3 to 5 minutes and then jumped off and did some other stuff. But there's so much benefit to that, especially right now. If you can get your kids doing 6 seconds of sprints, 10 seconds of sprints, and you have them do like 3 to 5 of them. I mean, there's just, Derek, there's a lot of benefit to that, man. That's like throwing some wood on the fire. That's stoking the fire. That's allowing their body, the elasticity in their body to just kind of, everything's moving and all that waste is kind of moving along. And I just think at the very least, it doesn't have to be anything. I think we overdo things. I think everyone's on this mindset that this has got to be the 60 to 90 minute thing. And I think it's ridiculous. A couple minutes a day is really a lot.
I mean, just the simple stuff. I think Don, you mentioned in the workouts, your wife has got a Fitbit to hit 10,000 steps. I mean, just that's low hanging fruit right there. Just move your body. And it's something we can't do as easily now because of COVID. But if you have a TrueForm in your house, I mean, pop on the TV, walk, or listen to a podcast. Or like you said, and we have 5 TrueForms in the studio, and every once in a while, one of us is on a phone call. And every single time someone's on a phone call, they're walking on the TrueForm. And some of it is like, hey, let's just try to get moving. And now it's just habit. So you build these small habits when you have it very easily accessible to you. And then that just adds up. And, as far as training, like you said, I mean, 20 minutes a day, that's probably all you need. I mean, there's optimal and there's effective. Is it, optimal to just do 20 minutes of physical activity? Well, depending on your goals, but, maybe not. But is it very effective? Most certainly.
Derek, I think this is going to become a necessity. I think we're at this really interesting time in our world right now where, listen, gyms are, I own a gym in New York City. My 15-year lease happens to expire in 1 week. Think about that. And will I be continuing with Drive? Sure. Is it going to be at the same location? Is it going to be at a different location? I don't know. And you know what? We'll figure that out. I'm not worried about that. But the one thing that I know for a fact is that in these last 12 weeks, people have suddenly earned this. They've been forced to earn this respect for in-home training. Where in the past, people would roll their eyes. Oh, I'm going to wait till I go to the gym, or I can't go to the gym. They're learning to make it happen right now. And in learning to make it happen, where someone in the past would have thought twice about buying a treadmill for the house, because they're like, you know what, it's a little expensive. And 6 months a year, I'm not going to be using it because I'm going to be running outside. So, why am I going to buy it for 5 or 6 months a year? I'll just use it at the gym. No, people are going to do. I mean, I'm sure. Can you talk about like some of the types of payment plans? I mean, where the treadmills in the past, like if you look at certain companies like Woodway, I mean, those can get really expensive. They can get up around $10,000. I mean, I'm not going to go spend $10,000 on a treadmill at a club, especially when I need 6 of them, but can you talk about right now, how are you guys forced to have to make this a little bit more affordable for people? Because it would be nice if anyone can carry this in their house.
No, for sure. So it started with making the TrueForm Trainer. Like I said, the TrueForm Runner has been around for 5-6 years now. It's gone up in price as we added more features to it, but listing price is $6,500, and that's a lot. That's honestly a lot for a piece of equipment. I mean, you can get a very decent squat rack and a barbell, and a couple $100 worth of plates for that money. And so to think to put that into a treadmill, if you're not a dedicated endurance athlete or sprint athlete, it's a lot for sure. But it's we talked about the space and opportunity, and the current and the overlap to what you do outside and other areas of your life. There's a value there, and it's also hard to make a machine in the United States. Right, I'm in the gym right now. Right next to us is the factory to make the TrueForm, and there's 3 guys that make it. It's just like a high-end, sports car with someone's signature on the bottom of who makes the engine. It's the same thing, the TrueForm Runner. So we're like, you know what? Let's help everybody out. We get that, so we made the TrueForm Trainer model. And so that one is a couple $1,000s less listing price. And that's been great. It's been selling great for us. Everybody from just general population, people putting in their home. We kind of market it to the home use. Most gyms love the TrueForm Runner model just because it doesn't break. We talked about the CrossFit competitions. Most of these CrossFit competitions are outside. We leave the TrueForm Runner outside and it's pouring rain or people going from swimming to on the TrueForm. The thing doesn't break and it can't break. And so if you don't need the most overly done, overly built product out there, but still want the same principles, same value proposition of healthy running, healthy walking, healthy living, then you get the TrueForm Trainer model. But it's actually interesting to see, more and more companies. I think the Memphis Grizzlies just bought a TrueForm Trainer model. Even though we tell them, like, we're not trying to upsell them, we're just like, hey, like most facilities do this with the runner. And he's like, nah, I'll get the trainer. And he absolutely loves the thing. And like I said, if you don't run on either of them, I can't, say that you're going to see the true difference between the two.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also haven't seen the new runner, Derek.
Yeah.
But comparing the trainer now, which is your more inexpensive model, to my old runner, as I'm 4 years old, it's night and day. It's night and day. I think the trainers, it's you guys, what you've done to the tech. The performance of it's fantastic. Derek?
Yeah, we got a few other things in the works for the runner model just to improve it up, smooth it out. But like I said, it's just the most overbuilt thing, and you get a little more posterior activation out of it because the belt is heavier and it's a little smoother. But the trainer model is perfect for home use or, as we just said, professional athletes. But back to the payment plans, when to hit on that is, with the pandemic, you go on to, there's a mad dash to go to buy dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, even, treadmills, whatnot for your house. And everybody's sold out. And so we're trying to think of the best way to solve that problem. And you kind of solved it by helping both sides out with some pretty big discounts. So right now, if you want to buy the TrueForm Runner or Trainer model, we have a delayed gratification sale. So if you're someone who's like, I just need it now, it's the all year round price. It's if you buy it now or if you buy it in November, that's the price. We're actually saving $200, so it saves down on some shipping and some tax. But if you're willing to wait up to 2 months, so right now, as recording this, what is it? May 22nd, we have the 2-month mark at June 30th. You can save $2,000 on either the TrueForm Runner or Trainer model. So that the trainer behind me, it's in your house or gym or wherever for less than $3,000, which is pretty remarkable. Wow. So and it helps you guys out or the individual out, put it in their house for a good price, and we don't have to go out of stock.
I don't even know. So basically, so what'd you say? It's roughly three Gs.
Yeah, $3,000 for a brand new.
I've never even heard of that. I've never. Heard of
so
that.
that's like less than $100 per month for the next 3 years, and
exactly $97 a month for our financing that we do for the trainer. So.
People are spending that at Starbucks. But it's interesting. Chris Chase, the performance director at the Grizzlies, is sending me videos all the time. So he's on it, and then he's got the basketball players on it, and you got big guys, and that's the trainer. He has a trainer
model. Yeah.
So that's
great to say. I mean, there was a smaller footprint for the trainer. Their handrails are on top compared to on the side of the runner. So if you're a larger individual, you might feel a little claustrophobic, but not height wise, but width wise. But we haven't had any issues, and because of our shallow curve, the running form is going to be the same as the runner or the trainer. Even though the runner handrail is a little bit wider, a little bit taller, you simply can't overstride or get in bad posture, bad form without feeling it on either model. So because the handrails are on top, does it make it a smaller footprint? Sure, but your form is not compromised, and I wouldn't. If you're a larger individual, I wouldn't stray away from that.
Yeah, it works for. I think Pat Davidson had a guy who was like 7 feet tall running on it. At the gym there, and it's very versatile. When you guys first mentioned, we're getting this cheaper one made, and I'm like, I kind of like the runner, and then when I tried it, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is good. I'll use the trainer. That's great. So
cheaper was never. In terms of a compromise of any of the values that we push out there, is just let's just kind of get this out to the masses because like you said, it's the most effective use of your time, and everybody should have this. This is the future. This is the micro gyms and micro home gyms are the next wave, and be able one-on-one with a coach on Zoom or through an app and just kind of get up and go is what's the future is going to be.
Is there any specific attachments? Because I know some of the treadmills are now adding attachments to the as you said, the curved non-motorized tread. Is there any specific attachments that you guys are working to adding towards?
So we have, for the TrueForm Runner model, we have what we call the performance adapter. And that's a lot of, market that towards sprinters and people working with athletes, or even just kind of rehab facilities. Kind of helps you out with that hip extension, glute engagement. It's a wraparound handrail that you can tie a resistance band to, not for the purpose of resistance runs, but like I said, just kind of pulling through, getting that hip extension. Other than that, we don't have any in-house attachments. We work with another company, North Poling Engineering, that has what's called a run sensor, RUNN. And it's a little sensor you can put at the top of your TrueForm or any product out there. And it just counts the tread. There's a little tracker you put on the tread, counts the tread, gives you speed, distance, cadence, all that good metric, and connects with Zwift as well if you don't have a Bluetooth display, if you have one of the older models. And as far as a runner, like I said, we have some upgrades in the future. We're working on a digital screen because we are pushing out the education piece, pushing out the live on-demand platforms that we have. We have plenty of workouts out there, just having a coach in front of you on demand, and even incorporating those Zoom or Skype type workouts.
I think Chris at the Grizzlies, I think he's used the Run, and then he has it on a big screen in the facility so people can just see the heads-up display. So
yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, because that's one of the things we want to avoid is people looking down, because it's pretty easy to run or walk with your head looking down, but your form gets compromised. So if we can have something up higher, and the run sensor has been perfect for that because you can cast that to your typical TV.
I typically wear a first beat heart rate monitor when I'm doing all my run work, and I noticed that on the trainer you do have a heart rate monitor section on the bottom, but that one's off. Is there
does he need an adapter or something for that, or
Polar is what we use, what the trainer display is using, so that technology we're working on.
I could throw a Polar on.
Yeah,
easy.
So
yeah, I have a Polar. All right, that's awesome. Good. D, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Don and I are going to keep doing these workouts and just kind of keep pushing the envelope, see what we can do with it, and then just get more people to kind of follow and hopefully join in as well. And I even said I think in one of the video conversations we had, we talked about, like, you know, ultimately if the goal is to get people to have a TrueForm treadmill.
Yeah.
If they don't right now, there's still some things that I think the workouts that Don and I do can convey. Like if it's just a 30-second on, 30-second off, they can do that outside. But once they get the treadmill, it'll be a lot easier to do that, with the weather and whatever. So I think,
you'll be in a better, if you're someone who out there is listening and thinking about buying a TrueForm, it's in your best interest to do a lot of the drills you're posting on. All you need is an exercise band, or don't even need that. You can get a medicine ball, PVC pipe. Your coach's corner stuff is great. And you kind of build up to get to a point where now you get on the TrueForm and you're like, oh shit, I get it. And this is great. And I can transfer over those skills, the off the tread skills, the on the tread skills, which will further transfer to wherever else you're doing.
Yeah, even the work to rest ratio stuff that you're talking about, Don, in terms of recovery, I think it's just a good exercise for people to understand those things.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty eye-opening when you start looking at heart rate and you start looking at the effects of, what type of workout can affect your aerobic system opposed to your anaerobic system. And this is really, like Zach used the word low-hanging fruit. Yeah. This is really basic stuff, but I think when people start understanding the basics a little bit better, they could start really kind of curating a workout around what it is that they're trying to do. What body are they trying to create? I mean, how many times have you seen that comparison between a marathon runner's body and a sprinter's body? Yeah. And just, I think stuff like that is so important. Yet, and you said it earlier, a lot of people don't care. It's like they just show up to a gym, they join a gym, they hop on a treadmill. But I'm starting to get phone calls about, I'm going to get a treadmill. What should I get? Or like, I'm buying this piece of equipment. What type of equipment am I going to get? Man, I've gotten more of those calls in the last 2 months than I have received. I've been doing this professionally for 21 years. I'd say in the last 2 months, I got that call more than the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So we're on.
Yeah, that's why we have heart rate on the TrueForm, and like I said, we're pushing the performance piece of it, even if you're not a performer, but just to track your heart rate. It's one of the easiest ways, if not the only way, to actually identify what you're doing during a workout, whether you're walking or running, and seeing if you're right at the heart rate zone, if you're working hard enough or too hard, and then adding that recovery piece in there. There's a lot of recovery trackers out there that track sleep, and you can attach all those together, your heart rate, sleep, and your activity levels. Man, I mean, you have so many, so much opportunity to create the physique, the body, the healthy body that you're looking for.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of people asking me as well about the TrueForm, and I've been saying, like, hey, if you're going to use it at home or a smaller facility, get the trainer. But if you have larger people and a lot more volume, maybe better to get the runner. Is that pretty spot on?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the spiel we give is, do you want the best of the best, the most overbuilt, high-end luxury SUV, or do you want the same principles and something that's still, obviously a little biased, but highly built, overbuilt compared to the other models on the market? A little smaller footprint, a little more consumer friendly in terms of, composite parts, or you're not going to leave it outside. If you have a garage gym and you're just going to leave the TrueForm outside, maybe you want to go with the runner. If you do have a heavy individual, go with the runner. But the trainer model, it's slowly becoming one of my favorite ones. We like I said, we had it for a year and a half when we first got him. Like, this can be great for the home market, home gym. I'm going to walk on it sometimes, but I really love the TrueForm Runner here. But I find more times than not, I'm running on the TrueForm Trainer here at our home studio.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
I have people hitting me up from Australia. Can you get TrueForms in Australia? Or?
We can. They're funny enough. We were with the CrossFit stuff. We were in Australia back in 2015. So there's actually a lot of TrueForms hanging around there, and we do see them kind of pop up on whether Facebook Marketplace or their after sale parts. We can ship worldwide. The easiest way to do it is through the TrueForm Trainer, because we have a factory in Korea. We can ship that out to anywhere in the world from Korea. The TrueForm Runner, if you're looking for it, your best option, at least financially, would be looking at those resale markets, just because it takes a lot to ship those things and taxes and whatnot. But yeah, the TrueForm Trainer, we can ship that thing worldwide.
Because I know Don has a lot of tens of thousands of international followers, so they're going to be asking.
They're going to be asking. They're going to be. So D, I'm excited for our next workout. We have to lay that out. When are we going to do that?
Oh yeah, I got to mentally psych myself up. I just know that when we're warming up, I'm like, I'm running out of breath. I can't talk. Like, so I gotta train with Don.
That's the worst.
It's no later than Monday, Tuesday. Sorry, Zach.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I do like live vitamin manworkouts with the TrueForm Runner, and I've run for years, and I thought it was this is nothing. I watch other people do it, but it gasses you out pretty quickly. You forget how much of this machine is just takes so much out of you, and to have a conversation like that is tough.
But I will say, Don, I went for a run with my wife after, like a little later in the day. I felt fantastic. Like I thought I was going to be destroyed because our workout was pretty tough, and then it kind of potentiated me. I don't know.
It was, and that was more of a steady state run.
Yeah, that was like a 5K. I hate those.
And she beat the crap out of you. I saw
Because I asked Jeff, and Zach can confirm this. What is the longest anybody's run on a TrueForm continuously? What is the longest?
So we had one guy here, I think it was a couple years ago, run a marathon. He got broken up. We had 3 guys last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, at a Spartan event, locked themselves in a ship container, just the only light coming through is air holes, and they did it for 24 hours, sensory deprived, like no lights, no nothing. They didn't know what time it was. The guy ran 46 miles. And then right now I'm training 2 guys through Trail Runner Nation who are running a 100-mile race. They had this race planned out pre-COVID. COVID happened, race is canceled. You know what? Let's see if we can train for a race just on the TrueForm. So they're running 100 miles in the TrueForm for the next,
we won't be doing that.
I'm curious to see, you know, it'd be a great test. You know, it'd be awesome if someone actually did all their marathon training.
Yeah.
Like someone, say you ran the 2020 marathon and you trained on pavement. Then for the 2021, you're going to train all on the TrueForm, then run in the marathon.
Yes, that's what these guys are doing. Badwater, which is a
that's awesome
race. So they're training for that race solely on the TrueForm Trainer in their house in out in California. So
that should be you, Don. New York Marathon, Don.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what you're gonna do. We'll both do it. I'll fly to New York and then we'll run the marathon together.
All right. So if I run the marathon, you're gonna run with me. That's what you just said. I'll get us in, no problem.
I can't commit to that.
You said it. Zach, did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard him. I mean, I think Derek's got to do it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Derek, I'm going to text you later. We're going to set a time. Yeah, Zach, we're going to be putting up content weekly on this. One, for the fact that I'm having more fun running right now than I have had in a long time, and 2, it's just a great product to showcase, and it's I think it's going to be fantastic to show people how easy and more affordable this sort of thing is now. So just thanks to our friends at TrueForm. I mean, I think on several occasions, you know, Zach jumped in his his expedition? Excursion. Sorry, his excursion, and not only drove and dropped me one off. Yes, he dropped it off in Long Island from Connecticut. Connecticut. But also when Laura Summers needed one, they drove all the way down to Chicago. So that shows some dedication in the company, and I'm forever grateful for you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you guys. And like I said, we're a 4-person company. So if you've come in contact with us, you come in contact with a small business owners, even though we have kind of worldwide reach. So that's what we kind of take pride in.
Well, keep killing it, guys. And
Sure,
Derek,
awesome.
expect the text soon because I'm not letting this slide by. All right. I'll see you guys later.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Take care, guys.